Yo, what's up, guys? Yo, what's up, Eric? What's up, Glenn? Thanks, man. What's up, Chris? What's up, David? What's up, bro? So, I'm gonna be playing some Tour 9 here using the Wind Arrow, and I'll be talking through my process, like how I usually approach each hole and each shot. If you guys have any questions along the way, please ask because it'll help me, you know, help me out. And the thing is with this account is I can't play it without promoting to Masters after next tournament. So I'm going to be forfeiting the games. I hope you guys don't mind, but I can't let this account promote to Expert 3 next week. So please keep that in mind. And also, please keep in mind that I'm not a T9 expert like some of you guys are. So I'm just going to be going based off of what I know so far. But please ask questions along the way. I'd appreciate it. So I'm not sure if you guys prefer if I use any specific clubs, but I'm going to stick to Thor's Hammer 4 and quarterback for most of the holes. Yo, what's up, Keith? What's up, Gajo? Yeah, we're just gonna play. We're not gonna. I can't afford to promote this account without it going to Masters. Yo, thanks, Sean. Okay. So this hole from the second tee, I usually play it 10% with the wind arrow. And the thing about using the wind arrow is that you're always going to use the same percentage no matter what direction the wind is. So I'll enter 10% here and enter the direction. It's a slight headwind slash crosswind. Then I'll enter 6.5, and then you'll see that the max number here is 5 rings. So since we're pushing up in the max, that's the number that we're going to use. And we're just going to have to max OP this with a power 1 ball, and hopefully we make it over. But he's in the bunker, so it's cool. Uh, it's probably not going to make it. Oh, okay. Yeah, so the thing about using the window is that you're always going to use the same percentages on your shots. Like, for example, that drive, I always play 10%. And then you let the wind arrow compensate for the rest. So let's say it was a straight tailwind. The max number would be 3.8. If it was a crosswind, crosswind it would be 3.2. Yeah, I use it for most shots. Most shots. And then this second shot from here is uphill. One thing that I like to do is I like to zoom in to where I'm trying to land. Usually we're going to be closer and we can land somewhere up here. But you can see from this angle here that it's uphill from where our ball is right now. So in that case, I would be playing it uphill, like I would do like a minus 10% to get to that spot. But it's going to be tough to make it up there, so I'm just going to lay up here for now. Another thing to keep in mind when you use the wind arrow is that you have to use the number for where you're pulling your bullseye to. So let's say, for example, it's a straight tailwind. let's say it's 10.0 straight tailwind. If it was a straight, with a straight tailwind, you're going to be pulling back closer to maybe mid or min club. So you'd be using somewhere around 10.9 or 9.6, depending on where you're pulling to. Yo, what's up, Katie? So on this shot, we'll see whether we're going to bounce on the fairway up top or just go straight for the green here. Yeah, we're probably going to do the same thing our opponent did here. So we're most likely going to play the shot uphill still from where we are. So this spot right here, you can see even here, it's slightly slanted uphill. So I will play the shot uphill. So I'll go 10% uphill. I'll enter the wind direction. And our landing spot here is around, it's actually right at min club. So I'll just go ahead and use that min number there, 8.1. And then you always, whenever you can, leave yourself some safe space here. And we'll pull 8.1. And then we'll give it a slight curl. And that should be on the green. And then we'll take a look at the shootout. If I go first, I'll go ahead and play the shot, and then I'll forfeit before my opponent takes the shot. What's up, Naeem? How's it going, bro? That's assuming we make the putt. This is kind of a long putt here. All right. Thanks, Naeem. I've just been using it for so long. I started using it pretty much right after it was introduced by Zachary Jones. If you guys really want to go in depth with it, I recommend checking out his videos. So this one I usually play flat. I'm gonna let him take his shot, and then I'll talk through what I would do. I'm not gonna take the shot, but so normally this one I play the rough bump, just because I think it's more consistent. But not if it's a right to left angle. If it's right to left, you're adjusting down into the bunker, and then it makes that rough bump pretty tough. I have to forfeit, man. I'm sorry. I can't let this account promote. Otherwise, it's going to go into Masters after next tournament. So you can see from the tee box here that there's really not much elevation. That's why I usually play this one flat. I play this one 0% with the wind arrow. So normally what I would do here is I would get my wind angle right about there. And with the sniper, you see that this is max here. This is min. So we'd be landing around here, but we'd be pulling, because of the angle, we'd be pulling back slightly. So we'd actually be pulling towards about 25% club. So I would set my slider to 25% club, and then pull that number, 8.2. So I would do something like this and then pull 8.2 from here. And that should be pretty close. So hopefully we can go first on some of these shootouts so I can demonstrate a little better here. Yeah, I'm sorry I can't play these holes because I can't risk this going into Masters. If it goes into Masters, then the brackets are going to be much tougher because you're going to run the risk of playing guys who have Tour 12 max, who play Masters tournaments. Sometimes they like to go back and play pro tournaments, to stock up on Kingmakers and Titans. So that's why I'm just trying to avoid that. Okay, so this one, I usually play 10% downhill. You can see here from the tee box that, it's slightly downhill from the tee box to the landing spot here. So I'll add 10%, enter the wind direction, and the max number here is 4.7. I'm going to use a par 3 ball, actually. This one you gotta get farther down. So 5.5. Max number is 4.3 here. Pull about 4.3 here. And then we're just going to max OP this. Yeah, the slider has to be set to where you're pulling to, not where you're trying to land, because you need to adjust for the arc of the shot for where it is after your adjustment. Yeah, David, that's what I like to do. Like if it's hard to determine the elevation, you can zoom in to where you're trying to land and then look back to where the ball is. It's usually easier to see that way. So the second shot from here usually plays uphill. We can do the same thing. We're going to zoom in to the landing spot, and you can see from there that it's uphill. See, you can see from this angle, slightly uphill. So I usually play this second shot 10% uphill. We'll enter the wind angle. It's a slight crosswind, headwind, or a tailwind. We want to land here, but we're pulling back a little. That's max, that's mid. We're going to be pulling around mid here. So that's 9.7. So I'm going to set up here, pull 9.7. And we're going to give it a slight curl. You see the landing is pretty close to where we were aiming there. We used the mid number there. Yeah. You have to adjust for where you're pulling your rings to when you're using the wind arrow. Yo, what's up, Sean? What's up, bro? Yeah, keep in mind when you're using the wind arrow, you're going to be using the true elevations of the course. You're going to be using a much lower percentage than you were if you weren't using the wind arrow. That's because the wind arrow compensates for that extra percentage. So hopefully we go first on this shootout. Okay, this one I play 10% usually. Okay, so he's going first. Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and forfeit because I think I can get more information in through tour play. If we do get a shootout where I'm first, then I'll play it. Yo, what's up, Doug? Thanks, man. All right, let's see what we got here. Okay. So this one from the second tee, I usually add 10% with the wind arrow. We got a straight headwind here. I'll go ahead and use a quasar, so I'll switch to power 1 here. So I'll add the 10%. Let's say, for example, we had this wind, 5.7. Our max number would be 4.4. Oh no, this one I play 15%. This one is 15%. Yeah, you can see from the tee box, there's a pretty steep decline here. So I'll play this one 15%. We'll switch to a quasar. 15% downhill with the wind arrow. Max number here is 6.8. Go max top, max right. And since we're going to be pulling up to max, I'm going to pull back a little bit so I make sure I have enough room to adjust. Then I'm going to pull about 6.8 here. So we need slight OP, about 2-3 rings. Yeah. So if you're using a power 3 ball, you can get farther down here. But even with a power 1 ball here, you can reach the green. Unless it's a really strong headwind. And I'm pretty sure this second shot plays uphill. We can take a look at the landing spot, but from past experience, I think it's slightly uphill. Yeah, David, I think it plays uphill. So we'll take a look at it. We'll zoom into the landing spot here. So we're going to try to land right here. We can look back to where our ball is. And yeah, you can see it is definitely uphill. Definitely uphill. So I'll play it minus 10% with the wind arrow. We got a tailwind here, 13.4. That's max. We're landing here, but we're pulling back. Looks like we're pulling back a little bit below mid club. So I'll go like 1/3 club here. 11.5 rings. I'm just going to do it in one pull. I'm running out of time. Somewhere around there, 11.5. Yeah, we're safely on green. I think we're in the rough, though. I put too much topspin. But yeah, that second shot is definitely uphill. Yo, thanks, Wayne. What's up, man? Yeah, so on that second shot, you could see that where we were trying to land was right around mid club, but since it was a tailwind, we were pulling down, so we have to adjust our slider for something between mid and min club. Yeah, it's easier. Sometimes it's easier to see from the reverse angle. We're gonna let this go to shootout. So hopefully we go first this time on the shootout. Okay, this one I play 15%. Okay, we're going first here. So 15% will enter the wind. We're going to try to land around here, but we're going to be pushing up a little bit towards max. We're going to be slightly under max, so I'm going to go like 90% club, which is 8 rings. So I'm going to pull 8 rings here. I think I need one backspin actually. I'm going to pull 8 rings here. We might need some OP. No, we're okay. And then give us some curl here. Yeah, usually this one I play on the right side, but I'm just playing it on the left side for demonstration. But you guys saw I added the 15%, and then I was trying to land at mid club, but it was a headwind, so I was pushing up towards the max. So I used the number that was closer to max there. And actually, we're going to forfeit here, just to make sure. I played 15% both sides, David. It's about the same elevation if you look at it. You know, normally on shootouts, though, it might be a good idea, you know, to save time to find a set percentage. You know, you can use the wind arrow to find set percentages. That way you don't have to adjust the wind arrow every time. The wind arrow is going to be a lot more useful to you in regular tour play when you're trying to figure out adjustments for a shot on the fly. So this one you can see slightly downhill. I mean, you could even play this one flat, but I'm going to add 10% here. 10.6. We're going to be landing here. We're going to be pulling, since it's that angle, we're going to be pulling up towards max. So I'm going to use the max number here. 7.2. We're just going to go about 7.2 rings here. We're in the bunker. So I'm going to OP this slightly. This is rough trying to talk through it at the same time, man. I do use it in tourneys if I end up in a spot that I wasn't before. Because for most shots in tournaments, you're usually in the same spots with the same wins. So for the most part, I use set percentages. But let's say I hit great ball, or you know something else goes wrong. I'll pull out the wind arrow then to make a shot on the fly. Okay, let's see what we're doing here. Okay, got a straight headwind. 8.1. Let's try rough bump here. Or actually, we can't with this angle. Okay. So let's just do Saturn shot. It's really no elevation. I'm going to play it flat. We're right around min, but we're going to be pulling up very slightly. So I'm going to set the slider to like 20% club, 3.5 rings. Yeah, it's pretty much flat from that spot. Get in the hole. Hey, Rabito. How's it going, bro? Oh, thanks, Nate. I appreciate that, man. It's cool. I don't mind forfeiting here. So if there's anything I'm missing here, please let me know. It's kind of hard to talk through this and do it at the same time and be as accurate as I would like to be. But yeah, I would say that's probably one of the main reasons that the wind arrow never caught on is because it does take a little extra time to set up your shots. But the reason I stuck with it is because I found it to be very accurate as far as the numbers that it gives you, as long as you're using it properly. Okay, so this one I played pretty much flat. There's really not much decline from where the tee box is. So with the headwind, I would usually do a full backspin driver shot here, but unfortunately, I can't play this one. So this is Operation Dump all T9 trophies. Yeah, that one's pretty interesting with the elevation there. Okay, so we got this one again. I played 10% from the second tee here. So this one we do have a tailwind, so we're not going to be using the max number here. We're probably going to be using a number around mid or maybe something slightly below that. Because it's either this account or one of my main accounts, Katie. And if I do that, it's just going to be replays, and then I'm never going to get those trophies back. Okay. So we got a tailwind here. Input the angle and the number. So this is our landing spot, but we're pulling back. Let's see about where mid is. This is min. So we're going to be pulling slightly below mid. The mid number here is 8.2. So I'm actually going to pull 8. I'm going to take off the point 2 here. And I'm just going to pull 8 rings. Since we were pulling slightly below mid club there. So for those that don't use the wind arrow, our wind was 11.6. So that would be like 20% max on that drive. Yeah, sure. No problem. Yeah, I wish I knew this ahead of time. When I logged into this account, it I took a look at the weekly bracket and realized it was still expert 2. So if I let it promote next week to expert 3 and then I play the tournament, it's going into masters after next week. Okay, so this shot, let's see where we are here. Yeah, we're kind of far back here. But we have a straight tailwind, and let's remember that I played this shot 10% uphill, 6-3. The max number here is 4 rings, so what we can do here, since we want to land actually somewhere up here, we can still use that max number. So we can push up to where we want to land, then pull back about 4 rings. That's about 4 rings right there, and we can see that we still need over 5 rings of overpower here. So we'll go ahead and do that. I'm going to go 5 rings since it's a tailwind and it's going to carry. And you can see we landed pretty much where we were aiming there. So we'll see. Hopefully we go first on this shootout. Actually, you might not make it though, so we might miss this on purpose. Get in the hole. So I mean, these are just basic principles that I'm going over here. There are other things to keep in mind when making your adjustments as usual, like when you're adjusting into bunkers. If you're pulling back, you have to take off from your adjustment. Things like that. Oh, we got it. Yeah, so this one I play 30% with the wind arrow. So with the headwind, this one is extra tricky because usually you're pulling into the bunker and you have to either overpower your shot or push even more rings. Yeah, something like that name. That's a good idea. Yeah, so what? Yeah, actually, I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna take the shot because I can't. Maybe I'll miss it on purpose. We can just take a look at the number here. So 30%, 5.2 with the wind arrow. The landing spot here is slightly above mid club. So since we're going to be pulling up, I would go like 75% club here. That brings us to 7.2 rings. So I would go something like that. Make sure the ball guide is a little bit past the pin. Then I would pull 7.2 here. We're slightly down into the bunker here, so what I would do is push it up slightly like that. And that should compensate for the drop into the bunker. And, that should get on the green from there. But let's see. Let's take a look at the number here. So 5.2, 5.2, 30% downhill at 75% club. That's 7.2. So if you're not using the wind arrow, that would be about 45% max if you're not a arrow user. But that's with that wind, when you have a straight headwind or tailwind, the number is always going to be higher because that's the highest wind effect. The more straight or more tail, the more straight head or tail wind that you have, the higher the percentage. Thanks, Nate. So, you guys have any questions? You guys want me to keep going, or do you guys want to see a different tour on Notebook? Always going to play at 30% no matter what the wind is. So as soon as I see that I have that shoot, I'll enter 30%, and then I'll just wait to see what angle wind I have, and then you know you have to just adjust your slider for where you're pulling to. So on 10 pH tailwind, but shot is max. You said you adjust for mid. Yeah, if it's a tailwind. If it's a tailwind. So if it's a lower wind, if you're trying to land near max, if it's a low wind, you might only be pulling back to like mid club. I think the stream is cutting in and out here, guys. Is it back? I'm sorry about that. How's it going, Terry? What's up, sir? Um, Correct, Wayne. If I'm using the wind arrow, then I don't change the percentage, because when you adjust the angle of the arrow, it compensates for, if it was only a slight headwind or a straight headwind, the wind arrow is going to change the percentage on the shot automatically. So I mean, let's take a look at that last shootout, for example, here. Actually, let's go to the app itself so it's easier to see. So we had a sniper shot, 30% elevation. The wind was, let's say, for example, it was a 10.0 wind. So if you have a straight headwind here, the max number is going to be 16 rings. But if it's more of a crosswind, it's going to be a lower percentage. So the max number there is 14.9. So you can see from here that using the arrow compensates that extra percentage if it's a straight headwind. You can see it going from a higher number here to a lower number. The more angled the wind is, the lower the number is going to get. You can see it going down slightly until you get to a straight crosswind. And the same is, it's the same principle in reverse as you go into tailwinds. The closer you get to a straight tailwind, the higher the number is going to get. So you can see here that the max number is the same as a straight tailwind as it is a straight headwind. So hopefully that explains your question. So yeah, that's why when you use the wind arrow, you always just play the same percentage no matter what, and then the wind arrow is going to compensate for whatever angle the wind is. And then always keep in mind that you also have to use the slider. You know, if it's a headwind, you're going to be adjusting closer to max. If it's a tailwind, you're going to be adjusting closer to min club. So hopefully that makes sense. So if it's a 30% elevation without arrow, is there a general rule of cutting elevation in half or something with arrow? Um, I'm not sure I understand your question. 30% elevation without arrow. Oh, okay, I see what you mean. Um, there's not a general rule. That's where it comes down to experience and just trial and error. You know, the more you play a hole and you try different percentages, the more you can see what the true elevation of that shot is. So, you know, the more you use the wind arrow, the more you play a specific tour, the more you're going to figure out what the correct percentage is on these shots. You know, you just got to pay attention to where your ball is landing and where you're trying to aim. But what I will say is that if on, let's say, for example, you're on tour now, a certain drive, and you play it 15% with the wind arrow because that's what you know. Let's say you go to another hole on a different tour, and if it looks the same elevation, like if it looks like the same drop, then most of the time you're going to be using that same percentage. So it translates from tour to tour the more you get used to it. So that's another advantage of playing this way. Yeah, so if, let's say, you've played a shot before at 15% downhill, you jump to another tour and it looks like it's the same drop off, you can use that same percentage when you're using the wind arrow and just let the wind arrow compensate for the different wind angles. Yeah. Yeah, looking back and using that reverse angle helps out. So, do you guys have any more questions? Do you want me to keep playing? Do you guys want to, perhaps I could use it on Tour 11 since I'm very familiar with Tour 11? Hey, how's it going, Sandy? Tour 1, Tour 11. Yeah, I usually do that most of the time anyway. I play Tour 11, and whenever there's new people watching, I usually talk through my shots. You know, that you have to stick. You know, it's a good idea to just keep the slider in mind when adjusting for your drives. Well, I mean, for any shot, but let's say it's a very narrow fairway. You know, you want to try to get as accurate a number as possible. So always keep those principles in mind. Keep the elevation and then slider in mind when you're pulling your shot. T9. KJG says T9. Change account and play. Okay. Yeah, for sure, Nate. When you're trying to like drop an eagle or something with a short iron shot, then you know, being the more accurate you can be, the higher your chances of getting that drop. But like on a drive where you have a very wide open fairway, there's a lot of margin for error, you know. Okay. All right, so we can go to T11 then. We can play a few games over there. So, yeah, I mean, like, let's say, for example, there's a drive with a wide open fairway. You don't have to be 100% accurate. You know, if you're off by a ring, you're still going to be okay. That's why it's always a good idea to leave yourself some safe space, left and right, top and bottom. Yeah, this is an iPad, Terry, with notebook. Okay. Yeah, we'll play a few games here. It's the same process no matter what. Any tour you go to, it's going to be the same thing. So same thing. If you guys have any questions along the way, please just let me know. I'll try to talk through as many of the shots as possible. Okay, this one, I'm going to run out of time here. So this one you can see from the tee box, it's pretty much flat. It's pretty much flat from here to where we're trying to aim. So I don't add any elevation here. 11.4. The max number here is 10. The max number here is 10, and we are definitely pulling into max. So I'm going to set up here. And then I'm going to pull 10 rings here. 10 rings right there. And we do need some OP here. So hopefully that we can still reach from here. So yeah, since that was a headwind, I went ahead and I used the max number of 10.1 because I was starting, even though I was landing a little bit below max, I was pulling up into max. So that's why I used the max number. So even though we're in the rough here, we can use the same principle. We're going to be using the rough iron. And the second shot from here is definitely downhill. So we're going to be landing somewhere around here. We can't quite zoom in all the way, but you can see that this landing spot is downhill from where the ball is. You can see it from here. So that looks like about a 15% drop to me. So I'm going to add 15%. Get the angle 11.9. We're slightly below max here. So I'm just going to go like 10 rings here. Or actually, I'm trying to get as close as possible. So forgive me here. I'm just going to max OP this thing. I kind of messed up this drive here. Okay, well, this is botched now. Yeah, I didn't use enough curl on the drive to stay out of the rough. So I'm just going to go ahead and forfeit this one because it's not really good demonstration here. I think this is a net, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, this one I play flat. You can see here from the tee box that the landing zones are pretty much even with the tee box. So I'm going to try to bounce over here. 9.4. I'm adjusting from max, so I'm going to be pulling just very slightly below max. So you can see the mid number there is 7, the max is 8. So I'm going to pull between that, I'm going to pull 7.5. And then I'm going to push up. I'm going to push up to max. And we'll see if that gets us over. That might be rough now with the great right. Looks okay. Yeah, so from there you can see that even though I was trying to land up in the red zone, I was still pulling back slightly below that. So what I did there was use the number between max and mid there, which at 75% club was 7.5, 7.6 there. So from here, we should have a short iron shot. So we're going to highlight the Hornet here. And it should be a flat shot. There shouldn't be any elevation here. We're just going to play 0% with the wind arrow. Yeah, you can see from this spot it's flat. There's no incline or decline. So we're going to get our angle here. Pretty much a straight crosswind, 13.1. I'm going to try to land right here. That's min, that's max. So this is like 20% club there. Set our slider to 20% here. 7.9. Right around 7.9 here. We're going to give it a slight offset. Offset there on the left edge of the cup. Pull 7.9. And we'll see how close that gets us. Oh, great left. That's going to miss left now. Oh, we got lucky. Okay. So with the great left and it dropping, that means that either I didn't get the slider percentage correct, or there was more wind effect than I thought there would be. With the wind being that high at 13.1, that was probably a wind effect thing, and I needed more offset. But I think I got the slider correct there. About we were right around 20% there, maybe lower even. But I think 20% was pretty close there. Get in the hole. Thanks for the BAMs, guys. All right, let's go for another opponent here. So, if you guys want to do this again next week, I think that it might be a better demonstration for Tour 9 specifically, because I'll be able to play the holes then. I'm sorry I didn't foresee that. Okay, so this one, we're going to be playing with the APOC, and this one I usually play, it's a very slight decline from the tee box, so I add 5%. With this angle, we know we're going to have a tailwind, so we're going to be using a number closer to mid club here. Yeah, no problem. If you guys have any questions during the week, though, let me know. Just hit me up on Messenger, Damien GC. Okay, so we got this angle right here, 13.4. So the mid number here is 11.4. So we're probably going to be pulling about that number here. Yeah. But I want to land up here. That's 3 rings into overpower. So I'm going to, or yeah, this is like 2 rings. So I'm going to subtract 2 rings. Instead of 11.4, I'm going to pull 9.4. So I subtracted the rings that I was into overpower there from the number that I was going to pull. And that landed pretty much where we were aiming there. Yeah, no problem. I really don't mind. Anytime you guys have questions, just hit me up. But like I said, I highly recommend going to Zachary Jones's channel. Check out the info that he has on this, because that's where that's where I learned all of this from. Full credit to Zach Jones. So I know we're gonna have a sniper shot here. So from here you can see really no elevation. You can see the green is pretty much flat from here. Get our angle, 11.4. That's min, that's max. We're gonna be landing around here, but with this angle we're pulling slightly above mid here. So I'm gonna go like 12 rings here. The mid number is 11.8, but I'm gonna go 12 rings here. So that's 5, 10, 11, 12. We're dropping into the bunker, so we got to push up. Just make sure. And hit great right, but that's why we leave safe space all the time, whenever we can. Yeah, they're exaggerated for a reason, though, because you have to compensate for all that extra wind effect. But that's the purpose of the wind arrow, is that you don't have to have these exaggerated percentages for these elevations. So I mean, even on the steepest inclines in this game, like the steepest inclines you're going to have if you're using the wind arrow is going to be like 40% at the most, maybe 50%, like on Tour 12, that Billy Goat Bluff hole. So this one, I played 20% downhill. So on this one, we're going to be landing where he is. That's at max club, but we're going to be pulling away from that down. So usually on this one, I set my slider to 33% club, which is 1/3 club. I'm going to go about 5.5 backspin, 4 right spin, and then pull. So it's 20% downhill. You can see from here it's pretty steep. Get our angle 12.6. It's going to be 16.8. I'm going to go four left spin, about 5.5 backspin, and pull 16.8 here. 8.6 and 8. I'm going to give it a slight curl. Okay. Need a little more curl, but pretty close. Pretty close. Do you mean that one shootout specifically, David? Okay, this one, with this win, we're going to use an APOC here, so we can use curl. It's 20% if you're using the wind arrow, because if you're using the arrow, it's going to compensate that extra percentage. I hope that answers the question. So this one I play 10%. I'm going to switch to a Kingmaker just to make sure we can get over here. So 10% downhill, about that angle. Max number here is 10.5. So we will be pulling up into the max number here. I'm going to switch to a cat because we might hit the rough here. And we're losing elevation here as we pull in this direction. So I'm not going to pull the max number here. I'm going to pull slightly under 10 rings here. And then I'm just going to go full curl here and use some OP. So always keep in mind that when you're losing elevation as you adjust your rings, you have to reduce your adjustment, because otherwise you're going to be over pulling your rings. Sorry about that, guys. Apparently my connection sucks tonight. Okay. So this one I play flat. You can see from this angle that there's really no elevation. So we're landing here at max, but we're pulling back. So we're going to use, this is mid club. We're not pulling back that much. So I'm going to go like 65% here. Like 7.8 here. Go 5 and then 7.8. Yeah, this is a lot of disconnects. I don't usually have this many. So I hope this has answered most of your questions so far. You know, like I said, these are just basic principles. There are other things that are going to affect your shots in different ways. But this should get you started. Okay, this one I played 10% with the wind arrow. Okay, so we're landing here, but we're pulling up. Going to be pulling up slightly above mid here. I'm going to go like 65% club here. It's going to be 6 rings. I'm going to go 4.5 backspin here, I think. Pull 6 rings. And give it a slight, very slight counter curl. This is a low wind, so I'm going to go very slight counter curl. I always miss perfect on this hole. Looks like it's still okay. Yeah, perfect would have been a little bit farther down, but you guys get the idea. I pulled 6 rings there, so our wind here was 8.0. I pulled, without the wind arrow, that would be 25% max. 25, maybe 30%. Nice shot, man. All right, I'm going to play a couple more here. Yeah, usually in headwinds I go like 4 backspin, but the wind was so low. You did max 20? Okay. Yeah, it looks like it's closer to 30 there with the headwind. Yeah, actually, the current system is pretty good, I think, you know. I mean, the way tournaments are set up these days with the wind staying the same, you know, having set percentages saves a lot of time. It makes it a lot easier, and then you can just make tweaks from there, like adding 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, depending on where you are. But it definitely comes in handy when you have to come up with shots on the fly when you're in a different spot. So we got pretty much a straight crosswind here, 12.3, maybe slightly downhill, but not enough to really affect it, I think, so I don't usually add any percentage here. Max number here is 9.2. So we're landing at max. We're pulling at max here, so I'm going to use 9.2 here. A slight counter curl. Hopefully that stays fairway. So the second shot from this spot is very steep. It's very, very downhill from here. Usually I play this 15% with the wind arrow. Yeah, so we'll just go ahead and make this the last game, guys. If you have any questions, feel free to hit me up. Like I said, anytime. And then we'll do this next week on one of my other accounts so we can do some Tour 9. Oh, he made it. So here, from here I would go 15%. Get our wind angle. And we'd be landing around here, pulling up slightly, so right around 7.6, maybe a little less because we're not quite going into max. Or we could just aim it straight at the pin, go 7.6. Can't adjust here, man. Anyway, you guys get the idea. Get in the hole. Yeah, no problem, Wayne. We'll do it next week after the new weekly league starts, so I can use one of my other accounts. All right. So thanks for hanging out, guys. I hope this was somewhat helpful. It's kind of hard to talk at the same time. You know, it's a little bit more intensive trying to find these adjustments and talk at the same time. So I apologize. But feel free to hit me up anytime on Messenger. I'm always available. And I'll be doing some grinding this week, probably tomorrow. I've been doing some grind streams on Twitch. If you guys want to follow me, my username is Damien_GC. So if you guys want to head over there and watch, you know, we can do the same thing there. If you guys have any questions, I'll talk through my shots there also. So thanks, guys. What's up, BK? All right. Thanks, guys. See you later. Peace out.